All right, good afternoon and welcome to NCCT Prep. Today we are going to finish up the medical insurance section of the packet. As always, if you need the packet, please get in touch with your instructor. They can email it to you or it may be posted in your e-learning website. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. All right, so let me make this a little bit bigger for you. All right, so I think we're starting with number 47 today. All right, so a patient had recently been to her cardiologist. She tries to figure her total responsibility. On the explanation of benefits, or EOB, the patient sees that her Blue Cross Blue Shield, which BCBS, common acronym for them, pays 80%. The following information was provided. $1,070 was the amount billed by the provider. $620 is the allowable amount. And the insurance lets them know what the allowable amount is. $350 is going to be applied to the annual deductible, and $20 is the copayment amount. Which of the following amounts is the patient's total responsibility? How much is that patient going to need to pay for this visit according to the information given? Mercedes, you want to take a guess? No? Okay. The answer on this one is going to be D, $370. The patient is going to have to pay their $20 copay, $20 copayment when they get to the office and see the doctor. And then once the insurance processes it, they'll figure out that she has $350 that's going to be applied to her annual deductible, which the deductible has to be paid before the insurance company will pay their portion, their 80%. The deductible has to be met for the year. So the patient will owe $370. All right, number 48. Which of the following information will be found on an explanation of benefits? Select the 3 correct answers. So as always, we know that if it's a question that we have 3 correct answers, that is a given, it's going to be on your exam. So let's take a look. All right, so what information can we find on an EOB? A, the amount billed by the provider. B, copayment amount due from the patient. C, deductible amount subtracted from billed amounts. D, provider capitation amount. E, amount previously collected. All right, so our answer on this one, our 3 correct answers. The amount billed by the first one's A. The amount billed by the provider is always going to be on your EOB. That's the starting number. All the deductible and adjustments and all that and payments get applied after, right? The billed amount's always going to be there. All right, B, your copayment amount due from the patient. The whole point of the EOB is to break down who is responsible for what. So everything that the patient owes or has paid is going to be listed there. And same for the provider and the insurance. What they owe or have paid or whatnot is going to be there also. All right, and the last one, excuse me, is going to be C, the deductible amount subtracted from the billed amounts. On your EOB, they're going to break it down and it's going to be in a line. You're going to start with your billed amount and then they'll have allowed amount right behind that. And it deducts down until you get to what is either the insurance's responsibility or the patient's responsibility. Usually it ends with the patient's responsibility. But that's how it breaks down on the EOB. It shows all the adjustments, all the amounts owed by who. All right, 49. The insurance and coding specialist just received an EOB from an insurance carrier. The first patient listed had 4 services. For all of these services, the allowable amount is the same as the billed amount. Why is that? The patient has seen a non-participating provider. B, the patient has not paid their copay. C, the patient has not yet met their deductible. And D, the patient will not have to be seen a second time before receiving a discount. Any guesses on that? All right, so your correct answer is A. Okay, and the reason why is because if the billed amount, if that provider is not under contract with that insurance carrier, the billed amount is what it is. The provider can charge their full price. When a provider is under contract, they agree with the insurance company. They sign a contract that states what they're going to charge for certain services, or sometimes it's a percentage, sometimes it's a set amount. It just depends on the insurance company and the provider and what kind of agreement that they come to. But if they are not under contract, then they're allowed to charge their full fee. So if the allowable amount and the billed amount are the same, then more than likely that provider is not under contract and is non-participating in that patient's plan. All right, number 50, billing practices that prevent the total payment received from multiple insurance companies from exceeding the patient's total bill are known as A, abuse prevention practices, B, coordination of benefits, C, fraud prevention practices, or D, assignment of benefits. All right, our answer on that one is going to be B, coordination of benefits. And that just basically means, guys, that the insurance, it's going to go to primary insurance first, and then it's going to go to secondary insurance secondary, or second, and then tertiary, if they have a tertiary carrier, they're going to go last in the line. And that ensures that nobody pays more than what they're supposed to, their allotted amount. All right, number 51, which of the following— Hello?
Hello? Hey, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you now.
Hey, I was trying to answer you, but I was trying to get my mic to work. That's why I was texting you in the chat, because I couldn't get it to work.
I'm sorry. I did the screen share thing, so the chat's not showing up. But
okay.
let me see if I can.
But I got in it now.
Okay, there we go. Very good. All right, thanks, Mercedes. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's see, number 51. Which of the following is the percentage the patient pays for covered service after the deductible has been met? A, coinsurance, B, copay, C, premium, or D, allowed amount?
I would think the premium?
No, the premium is what they pay monthly to have that insurance policy.
Okay.
That's what the premium is.
No. It's after the
copay.
Is it the copay?
No, it's not the copay. The copay is the amount that they pay when they first go to the doctor's office, for their little portion. Some plans have a copay and some don't.
Right.
It's going to be A, coinsurance. When they talk about like an 80-20 plan or a 60-40 plan or something like that, they're talking, that's your coinsurance. That's what the insurance is responsible for and what the patient is responsible for. The coinsurance.
Okay, so after the deductible and everything, that's part of the copay.
No. The copay is that some plans have, in order to see a doctor, that doctor may accept a $20 or $25 copay because the insurance company has already agreed to pay them something on the back end towards. They already know what that insurance company is going to pay. So they'll allow the patient a copay amount. But that's not the percentage that they pay is after the fact. Like your plan could have a copay and a coinsurance You're going to pay your copay first and then your coinsurance. Like if it's for a service that doesn't have a copay, after your deductible is met, your insurance will pay 80% of what's allowed, and then you would pay 20% of what's allowed. Now, in this day and age, we've got some super, super high deductible insurance plans these days. It used to not be like that, but now we've got $5,000 and $10,000 deductible plans, which is really hurting. It's hurting a lot of people because they have these high deductible amounts. All that has to be met before the insurance company will pay anything. So they're starting to charge people the full amount of a visit unless you have a plan that has a copay. If you have a high deductible plan, you may get charged the entire amount of the visit up front. I have a high deductible plan. My deductible is $5,000. So every time I go to the doctor, it's $120 because that's what he bills for an office visit, $120. So if my insurance comes back and say I've met my deductible, well, then they would process it and pay their 80%, and I would only be responsible for 20%, not all of it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
All right. The patient, number 52, the patient has health insurance that covers 70% of her covered expenses that she has incurred, which qualifies for reimbursement. The patient's responsibility will be 30%. This type of cost sharing is referred to as copayment, deductible, covered expenses, or coinsurance. And remember that they really like to ask the same question, just worded differently.
Patient has health insurance that covers 10% of her covered expenses that she has incurred, which qualify for reimbursement. The patient responsibility will be 30%. Patient. Would that be insurance again?
Yes, ma'am. You got that exactly right. That's coinsurance again. Anytime we start talking about 80, 20, 70, 30, the amounts that are insurance's responsibility and patient responsibility, we're referring to coinsurance.
Okay.
All right. Number 53. Charges billed to the insurance company were for a total of $250. The allowed amount is $150.
I think he calls this off the Cajun chef or something.
And the patient has a 90/10 plan. Which of the following is the coinsurance due from the patient? $10, $15, $25, or $135? So the easiest way to figure this out, the total billed charges were $250, right? But that provider is in contract. And under his contract, the allowed amount he can bill for that service is $150. Okay, so that's the number we're working with, is $150. The patient has a 90/10 plan, which means the insurance company is going to cover 90% and the patient's going to cover 10%. So what we're looking for is 10%, the patient's responsibility, of $150, because that's our allowed amount. So what's 10% of $150? Feel free to use a calculator. But a quick and easy way to figure that out is just do, there's 10 tens and 100.
135?
No, ma'am. 10%. So you take $150 and divide it by 10.
15.
Correct. $15.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Very good. Number 54. Charges are $155 and the allowed amount is $120. How much should the insurance and coding specialist collect from a patient who has Medicare? Excuse me. A, $96, B, $24, C, $31, or D, $35?
insurance. I will say 35.
It's actually 24. Medicare pays a certain amount, and you can only bill their patients a certain amount. And it's a percentage, and honestly, I don't have a lot of Medicare experience, so I cannot rightfully remember off the top of my head what that is. But the correct answer is $24. I think it's like 20% is the amount. So it'd be 20% of whatever the allowed amount is, which would be 120 divided by 20.20 on a if you use
That's where I be kind of messing up. I was subtracting the 155 from the 120. That's
right,
how I was getting it.
right. Well, if the just remember, if they have total charges and allowed amount, we're going to be working off of the allowed amount, not the total charges. So in
Okay.
this instance, the 155 doesn't even matter. That total billed amount doesn't even matter in this instance. If we have an allowed amount, that's what we need to look at. All right. So number 55. A patient was billed for $900 with a policy of 75/25 when in network and 60/40 out of network. The patient was treated by a par physician. Which of the following is the coinsurance amount? Okay, so a couple things you need to know about this right off the top, okay? The insurance policy, the 75/25 is just like that 80/20 we were just talking about, right? The insurance company is going to cover 75%, the patient's going to cover 25%. Same, and that's when in network. Okay, so that's for a participating provider. For a non-participating provider or non-par provider, they're going to pay 60/40. The insurance is going to pay 60%, and the patient is going to be responsible for 40% if that provider is non-par or not participating. In other words, not under contract with that insurance company. So the patient was treated by a par physician, which means participating. Okay, participating. They were in network. So which of those is going to apply to this provider, the 75/25 or the 60/40? Remember, in network is the same as participating or under contract.
Network. Probably be focused on the 75/25.
That's correct. 75/25 when in network. Okay, so that's our amount that we're looking at. Which of the following is the co-insurance amount? I'm guessing they want for the patient. So 25% of $900. And I would have to break it out. Just 900 divided by 4 is what that would break down to.
225.
Correct. 225. I'm not great at math either. Don't worry. I would use a calculator. All right, it's number 56. In each calendar year, a specified amount is to be satisfied before benefits payment can be made by the insurance plan. This specified amount is called A, coinsurance, B, deductible, C, copay, or D, out-of-pocket expense. All right, so what's that amount that everybody's got that they got to pay before the insurance company will start paying on their claims? They got
The deductible.
That's correct. Deductible. B. All right, so 57. Which of the following statements is true about deductibles? A, the deductible is paid quarterly. B, the patient pays the deductible to the insurance company. C, the deductible is figured annually or yearly. And D, patients must pay the deductible even if they have not received services.
Let's see. Insurance company. Figure annually. I would say D.
No.
No.
C.
C. The deductible is figured annually. That's a yearly amount. Once you meet your deductible for the year, the insurance will start paying their part. So yeah, the deductible is figured annually, yearly. All right, 58. Which of the following statements should the insurance and coding specialist use to advise a patient that his annual deductible has not been met and he is responsible for the full cost of today's visit? And they started off with, according to your insurance benefits, you owe $130. And let's go through our options. A, and there is no need to use your insurance for today's visit. B, this is just an estimate. Your insurance carrier will reimburse you the difference. C, and you can reschedule your visit for next month. D, based on your benefit details.
D.
That's correct. Based on your benefit details. You never want to tell a patient, I mean, even if they owe 100% out of pocket for that visit, you still want it documented in their file with their insurance company so that it does count towards their deductible. If you don't file it to the insurance, even for them to come back and say that the patient owes all this because they still haven't met their deductible, they never will meet the deductible if you're not telling the insurance company what they pay, right? So we always want to use the patient's insurance. And we don't ever tell them that the insurance will reimburse them because we don't know that to be fact. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So you don't want to advise a patient that their insurance is going to reimburse them if you don't know that to be 100% accurate. And you can reschedule your visit for next month. We could just process of eliminated that, right? All right. So number 59, level 2 visit for a cold. $95 contract rate, 80% paid from insurance, 20% due from patient after deductible met. $200 deductible with $49 met to date. Which of the following is the amount owed by the patient? All right, so let's break it on down a little bit, right? All right, it doesn't matter that it was a level 2 visit for a cold, that's irrelevant. We're looking at $95 contract rate, which that's the allowable. That's the contracted rate between the insurance and the provider. That's your allowable is this $95, right? All right, so $80 paid from insurance, $20 due from patient after deductible is met. That's their co-insurance, right? 80% for the insurance company, 20% for the patient, but it's after the $200 deductible. All right, so the patient has only met $49 of their deductible so far this year. So what is the patient going to owe for this visit?
Is it C?
That's correct. They're going to owe the whole $95 because that's going to go towards finishing up their deductible. That is correct. Very good. Is it making sense the way I'm explaining it, guys?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. I know this stuff can be kind of confusing if you're not used to dealing with insurance. So just let me know if y'all have any additional questions, okay? All right, so number 60. A patient was seen by a specialist today in the clinic. The allowable charge for service today is $700. The policy is 80/20 co-insurance. The deductible is $1,000, of which $500 has been met. Which of the following amount is the patient's total out-of-pocket for the services? So let's break it down a little bit. All right. So the allowable charge is $700, and we have $1,000 deductible, of which $500 is paid. So they still owe $500 on their deductible, right? They still owe half of that. and the policy is 80/20. But insurance is not going to pay 80 until that deductible is met. So what's our total out of pocket for the patient on this service?
B.
That's correct. That's correct. It's going to be B, $500. They're going to owe that whole $500 to finish off their deductible.
Right.
And then whatever's left over of that, there's going to be $200 left over, right? So what happens, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this and go a little bit deeper. Our correct answer is B, $500. But what happens to that remaining $200 that's left on the bill? Do y'all know?
Um,
I'll give it to you. That's when the insurance is going to pick up and they'll pay their 80% of that $200.
okay.
That's when the insurance, after that deductible is met, the insurance will pick up and they'll pay their 80% of whatever's left over. And the patient on the back end is still going to owe 20% of that $200 because that's their co-insurance, right? So, but yeah, after that deductible is met, the insurance will pick up and start paying their 80%. That's when your co-insurance starts taking effect. All right, number 61. Patient has a bill of $1,000 and his portion due is $590. The insurance payment portion is $410. The patient wants to know why he owes more than the insurance. Which of the following actions should the insurance and coding specialist take? All right, so this is pretend you're sitting in an office and a patient is calling you and questioning their bill. Why am I being charged, more than what the insurance covers? So our options are A, provide the insurance company's phone number and tell patient they must speak with the insurance. B, provide the patient with a copy of the office fee schedule and financial policy. C, print out a copy of the patient's account and review the charges and responsibilities for payment with the patient. Or D, tell the patient you will contact the insurance on their behalf and have the insurance company call them to review the bill.
C.
Yes. Their answer is C. Print out a copy of the patient's account and review the charges and responsibilities for payment with patient. And that's what you want to do. You want to break out the EOB or whatever it is and explain in detail to the patient how it breaks down. All right. And that's why I'm explaining it to y'all like I am with the co-insurance and where the deductible kicks in and all that stuff. Because if you get a job as a billing specialist, one of your duties is probably going to be to answer the phone and answer those patients' call. Now, when it comes down, if you've explained all that to the patient and they're saying, well, the amount is not right, that dollar amount that the insurance says I'm responsible for is not right. That's when you can say that you would have to discuss with your insurance company.
Sure.
If you think the amount is wrong for some reason, you have to discuss that between them because the only thing we can go on is the documentation that they give us. If you talk to them and they change it, they'll send us the documentation for us to change it on our end. But given that they have processed the claim and made payment or whatever, we have to go with what they say. But you can always sit there and explain the charges to them. All right. So number 62. The patient's EOB shows total charges of $369. $6 patient liability. $363 is covered. $50 deductible. Total paid to provider $250.40. And the policy is 80/20. Which of the following is the patient's total out-of-pocket costs? All right. So the way they wrote this out is kind of funny. Just kind of laying it out there like that, but let's look at it. Okay. So 369 was our total charges. We're not worried about that, right? We want the allowed or the covered amount, which is the 363. Okay. I'm actually going to write this down. All right. So 363 is our covered amount. $50 deductible. So that's going to be the patient's responsibility, right? So $50.
Mhm.
And they said $6 patient liability. So that's going to go to the patient. Total paid to the provider was $250.40. The policy is 80/20, which is the patient's total out-of-pocket cost. All right, so y'all want to know the way I would do the math?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would do in this instance, since they've laid it out like that, they told us that 250.40 was paid, right? So I would take that $363 and I would subtract $250.40 from it because that's what they paid, right? So I'm actually going to break my handy dandy calculator. We'll break it on down. All right, so 363 minus 250.40. That comes to $112.60 left over. So if the insurance is not paying it, who's paying it? Patient,
The
right?
patient.
Right. So that 112.60, that is the $6 patient liability, the $50 deductible, and then the patient's 20% of whatever's left over. Make up $112.60. But y'all see how I did that the easy way? I took the allowed amount and subtracted what they paid, what the insurance company paid, and whatever's left over is what it is.
No
Right?
offense. Okay.
So B, $112.60.
Can you tell me why they have C?
Who has C?
The like the little packet.
It's wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's a mistake. It's not correct. We found several in their math. There's been several incorrect answers as we've been going through this
I noticed that.
packet. There have been a couple that have been incorrect. So yeah, I actually didn't even look at what they had for this one. I just did the math. But yeah, if they have a C, that's incorrect. The answer is going to be B. All right. In fact, one of them earlier, number 47 that we went over, had the incorrect answer on the packet as well.
Yeah, 2 from last week was like that.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So let's see. Number 63. After a statement was received, the patient called to ask why a balance is due on her account. Which of the following would apply? Select 3 correct answers. A, copay, B, coinsurance, C, deductible, D, premium, or E, overpayment.
A, B, and C.
Yeah. B and C.
All right, so they have A, copay, B, coinsurance, and C, deductible. So if you said A, B, and C, you are correct. Premium, again, is what they pay monthly for their policy. So that's not, that's not handled through the provider's office. That's between the patient and their insurance company or their employer if they get that through their employer. And overpayment is not going to cause the patient to have any additional charges. All right, number 64. In which of the following claim scenarios should an insurance and coding specialist submit an appeal? All right, so basically when you submit appeal, the insurance company has taken your claim and denied. They said, nope, we're not paying this because it's either not covered or whatever. They have a bunch of different reasons for denial. But when you don't agree with their decision, no, this should be paid. This is covered under their plan. These are covered services. The policy was in effect. This should be a payable service. You should be able to pay my doctor for these services. Then you would submit an appeal. And there's 3 different levels. It's not often you have to go through all 3 levels, but sometimes you do. But let's look at their scenarios. A, the payer requested a letter of medical necessity for an expensive supply item. B, the physician did not submit the claim in a timely manner due to unusual circumstances. C, the physician believes she received a large overpayment for the claim billed. Or D, the physician disagrees with the timeliness of the payment.
B.
Let's see what they have. They actually have C. The physician believes she received a large overpayment for the claim, which is correct. I mean, you can appeal it if you think that they overpaid. If you thought that they were reimbursed more than what you were supposed to get reimbursed, you should have that corrected. You should get in touch with the insurance company and say, hey, can y'all take another look at this? I think, there's something off here. Because here's what's up. Here's what's kind of crazy. An insurance company can come back to a provider years, and I mean years, and Medicare is the worst for it. They will come back.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you say C?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The insurance company can come back years after a claim has been paid and take their money back.
What?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If they think that they overpaid, or if the patient's policy was terminated retroactively and that data service wasn't covered, they will come back and they will take their money back. And most of the time, there is very little that we can do about it, because when they come back years later, well, guess what? Timely filing is already expired.
Right.
You're screwed. You're literally screwed sometimes when they do that. And that's why it's important to make sure that your facts are in check, that you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. And yeah, there's doctors' offices get stuck all the time because Medicare is big about overpaying and then come and take it back later, adjust their fee schedule, and then just come take your money back. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. Usually nothing. So we got to just make sure that we're doing everything as accurately as we can on our side of things. Okay. But yeah, so if you think they overpaid, go ahead and appeal it. If you think they underpaid, appeal it. If they denied it, appeal it. All that. Let's see. Which of the following are valid reasons to file an appeal? Select 3 correct answers. So we know that's going to be on the exam. A, the ABN was not obtained for a non-covered service. Has nothing to do with claims either. Otherwise, do y'all remember what the ABN is for? We talked about that in the claims packet. The advanced beneficiary notice for Medicare patients.
Yeah.
It states that, non-covered service, you may be billed for it.
Yeah.
So we're not going to file an appeal over that, right? All right. B, the procedure was medically necessary. C, inadequate payment was received for the procedure. D, pre-certification was not on the initial submission. Or E, the physician disagrees with the pre-existing condition.
B, C, and D.
It's going to be B, C, and E.
And E.
E.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me make sure that they have the same answers.
It's not in it.
Okay, so they're saying B, C, and D. I say it could be B, C, D, or E. In my experience. But they have B, C, and D. So the procedure was medically necessary. That's a common denial reason for more expensive procedures. That they'll automatically deny it first go round and say it's not medically necessary, and make you submit the notes and the physician's notes telling them that yes, it is medically necessary per the doctor. Okay. C, inadequate payment amount was received. Yes, if you believe that your reimbursement amount was incorrect, you definitely appeal it. Have them look into it. Have them research it. They make mistakes too. Just remember that they're human on their end too. They make mistakes as well. So it could very well be that we got reimbursed at the wrong rate. So we need to make sure that's correct so our doctor's getting all their money, right? All right. Pre-certification was not on the initial submission. That is a very, very common denial reason. No auth is what they say. And it covers a wide range in denials. They'll put no auth for like 15 different things that they could be denying it for. But majority of things don't require an authorization or a pre-certification unless you're working like in a surgeon's office or something like that. Then yeah, almost everything's probably going to need a prior authorization or a pre-certification to get approved. But if they say it wasn't and you had it, you definitely want to appeal it. If they say you needed it but you didn't, you're going to want to appeal it. So either which way.
So, do we just put like, can we just put like all four, or
No, you're going to pick the three. Pick three.
so B, C, and E, or B, C, and
B,
D?
C, and D. Go ahead and be safe and do B, C, and D.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the physician disagrees with the pre-existing condition. That could be appealed too. That could be appealed too.
Okay.
But pre-certification is a more common reason for an appeal than a pre-existing condition.
Okay.
It's more common, so go with that. All right, guys. That finishes up medical insurance. Do y'all have any questions about anything that we talked about today? Co-pays, co-insurances, deductibles, appeals, anything at all? Anything at all? No?
No, I'm okay.
You're okay? All right. Cool beans. Cool beans. Yeah, if y'all are getting close to NCCT time, y'all should have heard some of this information before. It should be pretty familiar by now. But, all right. Well, this is my last session with you guys. We are going to be taking next week off. There will be no NCCT next week, and then we're going to pick it up the next week. We are not set yet on who or what we're going to be covering at that time, but it is going to be not this coming week, but the one after. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your participation. That means a lot. It's a lot easier to go back and forth when y'all are doing that. So it's very much appreciated. Thank y'all.
Okay. Thank you.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Y'all have a great day.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.